Hello, everybody. What is up? What is going on? In anticipation for the NFC Championship game tomorrow between the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I thought to myself, what better way than to get ready for it than by preparing a video for YouTube and giving you my 2 cents on it. So, let's not waste any time than what we need to, and let's get this out of the way. Also, if in the event that you haven't already checked it out, check out my predictions video for the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Whether that one will get posted after this one or the other way around, I'm not sure, but regardless, check out both that video when it gets posted and then this one, or vice versa. So here we go. The number 5 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into the frozen tundra to take on the number 1 seed Green Bay Packers. As I talked about in my recap video from last week's games, as far as Green Bay, I believe I already covered it, but I don't remember. The Green Bay Packers are in the NFC Championship picture once again, and they're in the NFC Championship picture for the second straight year. Green Bay advanced with a 32-18 victory against the St. Louis Rams in the divisional playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers is continuing to play at a stunning MVP caliber level under second-year coach Matt LaFleur. You can't say he didn't earn it. Green Bay's gotten this far, and whether you like them or hate them, you can't say they didn't earn it. You can't say they didn't earn it, and they're not deserving of it. But I give credit where credit is due. Green Bay has made it this far, and best of luck to them tomorrow afternoon. But on the flip side, you look at Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. He's making his 14th conference championship appearance, but this is going to be his first one with a team in the NFC. And in order to get to this point, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had to defeat the New Orleans Saints, and they did by a score of 30-20. And Bruce Arians is in his second year as coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the franchise makeover with Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and a host of others is rather eye-opening and impressive, to tell you the truth. And anytime you get Tom Brady on your roster, you can already guarantee one of several things: making the playoffs, championship game, be it either the AFC or the NFC, depending on what team he signs with and what conference they're in, and or a trip to the Super Bowl. So this is going to be a rather exciting matchup. I mean, even on paper, this is going to be an exciting matchup. It's going to be a classic regardless of who wins, and I can't wait to see it all unfold. Dating back to sometime in the mid-90s, I don't remember when it was, but I think it was in the mid-90s or early 90s, but whenever it was, as far back that history goes, Green Bay and Tampa Bay, they would play each other twice a year in what was known as the NFC Central. Excuse me, that was up until the 2001-2002 NFL season, if I remember correctly. But going into this series with Tampa Bay, the Green Bay Packers lead the series all-time with a record of 33-22-1. 33 wins, 22 losses, and a game that was a tie. But Green Bay won the lone postseason matchup that I think it was in the 97-98 season. The Green Bay Packers won the lone postseason matchup 21-7 in the NFL division playoffs, NFC divisional playoffs, on January 4th, 1998. That game took place on my dad's birthday. That's why it was so easy for me to remember. But in terms of recent history, for those who don't remember, Tampa Bay defeated Green Bay earlier this year by a score of 38-10. I believe that was in week 6. Like the old saying goes, that was then and this is now. That also happens to be the name of a Christian rock song that I like that came out a couple years ago. I don't remember who sings it, but the name of the song is called "That Was Then and This Is Now." And in the case of what happened in 1998 compared to what happened earlier this year in Week 6, that would definitely be safe to say. This is now and that was then. But going into this game, though, as far as scoring offense, the Green Bay Packers are number one, averaging about 32 points a game, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are ranked third with about 31 points per game. So the offense is relatively close. But with the Green Bay Packers, in a 3-game winning streak, they average about 36 points per game, going up against the Tennessee Titans, my Chicago Bears, and the St. Louis Rams, respectively. And Aaron Rodgers accounted for 11 total touchdowns. One touchdown was a rushing touchdown. I believe it was in the game against St. Louis last week. And the other 10 in that span were passing touchdowns. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, they average about 35 points per game. They averaged 35 points per game, in a 6-game streak that they've been on. And Tom Brady's riding on a 9-game streak with multiple touchdowns going into this game tomorrow afternoon. This might be a little bit of a crazy prediction, but I think if you had to say over or under the number of touchdowns that Tom Brady throws for, and you were to set it at 2, I would probably take the over. If he's lucky, he maybe gets 3 touchdowns out of it. But as far as the number of yards he maybe throws for, let's say 240, I would take the over. He throws for 240 plus yards and maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns. But there's 3 things that you need to look out for in this game, in my opinion. Number 1, the overall matchup. It's Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. This is 2 of the greatest quarterbacks, not just in recent memory, but also in the entire NFL. Excuse me. This would be like, that's what I said to a friend of mine. I said, in terms of comparing this matchup to anything else, Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game for a shot to go to the Super Bowl. I think I made the comparison. I said something like this would be like seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin battle it out with Randy the Macho Man Savage to determine who would be the number 1 contender for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania or something like that. Because this is that high a caliber of a match. But yeah, quarterback matchups like this, they don't come up like this very often, though. Both men are going to make big plays in the passing game, as we all know, especially with the arm strength that they possess. And the ultimate question going into this game is who's going to make a rare mistake, or the most mistakes. As far as rare mistakes, though, I would say Aaron Rodgers, because in the first game in Week 6, he threw for 2 interceptions. Or he threw 2 interceptions, not threw for 2 interceptions, I'm sorry. But that was the only game in this year that where he threw multiple picks. And that's what ignited the 28-point second quarter blowout for Tampa Bay. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has only thrown 2 picks at home this season thus far. And with Tampa Bay, when Tom Brady throws 2 or more interceptions in a game, the Buccaneers are 0-4. But in the past 6 games, that Tampa Bay has played, and Tom Brady's only thrown 1 interception. So who's going to be the first to make a mistake? Who's going to be the first to throw an interception, or possibly get sacked? I don't know. But if Tom Brady's offense is able to keep him upright, and Aaron Rodgers' offense is able to keep him upright, then it's going to be a real sight to see as far as what happens on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, which leads to my next topic of discussion here. Point number 2 that I want to make: the running game of the Green Bay Packers. In their past 4 home games behind the 3-headed monster that is Jamal Williams, A.J. Dillon, and Aaron Jones, Green Bay has averaged 192 rushing yards per game. But however, in the Week 6 matchup in the Shipyard against Tampa Bay, Green Bay couldn't generate a consistent running game because the Packers totaled for only 94 yards, and linebackers Devin White and Levante David, they combined for 18 tackles and 5 tackles for a loss. Combined 18 tackles and 5 tackles for loss, respectively. The offensive line for Green Bay must be effective at the second level, and that's going to be a real challenge without David Bakhtiari on the roster. I think Green Bay signed somebody. They signed somebody else. I think I talked about him in my recap video. Jared Veldheer, I believe is his name. He was on the Indianapolis Colts practice squad, and then Green Bay signed him. I think I talked about him in one of my other videos prior to this one, but be that as it may. The final talking point that I want to get to here is the 1-2 punch of Tampa Bay. Leonard Fournette, running back, he didn't play in the first meeting, but he's a physical back, and he's going to challenge the interior defense of Green Bay. Ronald Jones II, on the other hand, he had 2 touchdowns on 117 yards that he rushed for. But if that trend continues, look for Tom Brady to have success in a short passing game. A potential matchup problem in coverage for the linebackers for Green Bay, number 87, Rob Gronkowski. Even though Chris Barnes, who had 10 tackles in the last meeting and who's been a late season start for Green Bay, he's going to be going into this game with a fractured thumb. The last I saw, read, or heard, but. If you're able to find Mike Evans, you're able to find Rob Gronkowski, or there's another tight end. I can't think of his name. He's on Tampa Bay. What's his name? Oh, Cameron Brate. Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Ronald Jones II, Leonard Fournette, and Tom Brady. Or if there's anybody else available on the offense. On the offense for Tom Brady as far as wide receivers and or tight ends or running backs or fullbacks. Expect Tampa Bay's offense to have a real field day with the defense of Green Bay. But on the other hand, look at the Green Bay Packers and their offense. Look at Aaron Rodgers, all the weapons that he has. Robert Tonyan Jr. At tight end. You have Devontae Adams at wide receiver. I can't think of his name. I can't think of his last name, but you have the wide receiver, Valdez Scantling. I can't think of his first name. Tavon Austin at wide receiver, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys, most recently with the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he has quite the options to choose from as far as weaponry on the offensive line himself. So. It's going to be a real knockdown, drag-out, back against the wall, show me what you got. I'm not going down without a fight type of atmosphere in the frozen tundra. But be that as it may, I'm going to give you my prediction as far as who I think is going to win, albeit it's going to be a close one. I'll probably end up eating my words for this, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. Green Bay is at home. Home field advantage may be in their favor, but Tampa Bay and Green Bay are out to prove why they're the best teams in the NFC and why they're deserving of going to Super Bowl 55. But then I also forgot that Tampa Bay plays in Raymond James Stadium, also known as the Shipyard, or at least that's what I've called it for the last 15 years or so. And Super Bowl 55 this year takes place in, where at again? Raymond James Stadium. So, hypothetically, let's say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers end up beating Green Bay and going to the Super Bowl. Win, lose, or draw, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of 2020, 2021, they would be the first team in NFL history to not only be in the Super Bowl in their in their home state, but also on their home field and in their hometown. Is that a possibility of things to come going into this game and also going into the Super Bowl? We'll have to wait and see. Who will be representing the NFC? Who will be representing the AFC? We won't know until after the dust finally settles and both games reach 0 minutes and 0 seconds in the fourth quarter, or overtime if they get that far. But anyway, now for my prediction. It's going to be close. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be exciting. Something tells me that somehow, in some way, maybe, just maybe, Tom Brady manages to maintain the lead, or somehow, in some way, if, say, Tampa Bay is trailing, they manage to retain the lead, or if Green Bay is about ready to score, maybe Aaron Rodgers throws the ball at a defender in a Tampa Bay uniform unexpectedly. Who knows? Maybe a downfield pass to Robert Tonyan Jr. or Devontae Adams results in an interception in favor of Tampa Bay. Who knows? But that being said, I'm going with Tampa Bay beating Green Bay. Tampa Bay pulls off the upset. They go to Super Bowl 55. And they represent the NFC on their home field / in their home state, and also in their hometown. So that being said, keep an eye out for my AFC Championship game predictions video when that comes out. Subscribe to my page if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Give this video a thumbs up. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for the continued show and support for my channel, and I will see you guys when I see you. In the meantime, keep an eye out for another video whenever that time comes. Be well, stay safe, and may the best teams win. Talk to you later. Have a good night. I'm out.